So there is yet another new trailer floating around out there for Return to Silent Hill. A Chinese trailer. I'd like to check it out right now.
James, so much time has passed. I'm begging you to please come back to our place.
Oh, there's a new shot. James and Mary.
Hello?
Cemetery. Gravestone.
Coming back.
Homeless guy.
I know where she is. Everyone got sick in Silent Hill. How long has your girlfriend been in the hospital for?
Quite a few new images from the movie here. Oh, bugs. Or CGI bugs.
This is getting out of control. I need you to come back. City one big cemetery. Baby's sad. All that crazy shit happened. Her before it's too late.
Yeah, that is quite a bit of new footage for the Chinese audience. And actually, I caught when there's actually a second Chinese trailer that just recently dropped. Let's watch that one as well.
Please choose whether to enter Silent Hill. Once confirmed, there will be no turning back. Silent Hill survival rule number 1. Never
A bit
trust
more
what you see.
new footage. Has an English voiceover.
Silent Hill survival rule number 2. Never believe what you hear.
It's almost like a tourist
Silent Hill
narration.
survival rule number 3. Don't look directly into their eyes. Their pride and secrets here. Run! 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 Don't try to find the exit.
Yeah, you know, quite a bit of the visuals, especially the other world, seem to be pretty on point. Pretty soon, it's coming. We're just on the outskirts of its release now. And we've also got Chinese poster, or a few posters from the Chinese side of marketing. We'll take a look at those here. Now this one is basically the same thing as the new poster that we've seen domestically, just with Chinese lettering at the top for the title, I presume. Yeah, this one. And there's another poster for the Chinese market territory, or maybe it's Taiwanese, featuring all of the major Silent Hill ghoulies. Got Pyramid Head and the nurses and a lying figure back there. And these are the previous officially released posters. I believe this was the very first one. Might even call it a teaser poster. And here's yet another Chinese poster featuring the new lying figure from the movie, as it'll appear. Here's an English poster featuring, they can't not help but throw Pyramid Head front and center in all the marketing. Like, he's just thrown in your fucking face everywhere. Yet again. Coming soon in Pyramid Head cinemas. Wow, he's so popular they named theaters after him. Pyramid Head cinemas. No, actually, I think it's Philippine cinemas. There's a really good shot of him from the new movie. Look at that lighting. And this one, I'm not sure if this one's even real or fan-made, because this isn't even the Pyramid Head design from the movie. It looks a lot more like the one from the arcade game, actually. And yet another one. So if you head out to your local cinema here in the US of A, you'll probably see this on display. A giant Pyramid Head poster standee at AMC, Cinemark. Find that poster on the wall. Oh yeah, speaking of Pyramid Head and going back to the Chinese marketing, out there in Chinese theaters, you've got an actual Pyramid Head standee looking thing. On display. And then I also came across these images of some Chinese promotional items. Maybe they're selling at the cinemas over there in China. Got a bag, postcard, some small, are those ticket stubs? And some kind of circular thing that might be a sticker. And a mystery item there. Not sure what that's all about. And whatever this is, looks like a container of moths, like real moths. Oh yeah, there's one other poster that caught my eye. A French poster. This one depicting James in some kind of giant maze labyrinth. Very reminiscent. It reminds me a lot of the Hell Labyrinth in Hellraiser 2, Hellbound. So might this be like the underground labyrinth from the game? Like the movies version? So are they pretty much ripping off Hellraiser 2? But I like this. This is my favorite poster out of the entire lot that I've seen thus far. Yeah, so I did this stuff on the ARG website, youlivehherenow.com. I completed the tasks, and then you're prompted to enter your email address, which I did. Once you do that, they bring you to this screen. The fog carries secrets. Now they're coming for you. Ooh. And then you click on that, and it just takes you back to the standard main return to SilentHillMovie.com site. But here's what I got in the mail. This is what they sent me. Sent by Mary herself. Travel log, 3:18 p.m. Passport from Mary. I don't remember the last time I used this. I'm not sure I want to remember. Mary's passport. Now, why is it a passport when James and Mary, they're not traveling overseas to get to Silent Hill. It's a town within the U.S. of A. It's within the states. Like, well, whatever. And it's adorned with images from the movie. I don't know why it would have like the creatures, the nurse and Pyramid Head or Laura, when these things haven't happened. Like, this is a passport from the past. But whatever, it is just something to promote. A little tie-in for the movie. Okay. Now, some things have been posted online, on Twitter, and articles of excerpts from a recent magazine interview with Christoph Gans about the new movie. SFX magazine, I believe it is. Instead of relay a few of the quotes they pulled from this magazine article, I'll just go directly to the source and read off the entire damn thing. Okay? Christoph Gans is coming home. Like so many souls before him, he's been lured back to the nightmarish environs of Silent Hill. It's the town that burns forever, after all. But for once, the vision didn't come in some fog-bound dream, crawling with deviant, demonic entities. Gans felt the call during the existential tedium of lockdown, shortly after his true dream, a movie adaptation of Italian adventure comic Corto Maltese, had crumbled with the death of longtime production partner Samuel Hadida, financial architect of the project. The pandemic came and I didn't know what to do, says Gans, who first brought the fiendishly immersive survival game to the big screen in 2006. I knew that we still had the rights to Silent Hill, so during the lockdown, I decided to spend the time trying to adapt the very difficult to adapt Silent Hill 2. Originally released for PlayStation in 1999, Silent Hill is a phenomenon, a gaming franchise that sold over 13 million copies globally, an incalculable amount of shudders, screams, and sweat-slicked gamepads. Created by Keiichiro Toyama and Konami's Team Silent, it plunges players into a rural American ghost town where reality bleeds into a hellish, hallucinatory other world. The vibe is unsettling, the imagery intoxicatingly creepy, a grimy aesthetic of rust and emptiness, flaking walls, and flayed flesh. While 25 years' worth of sequels, spin-offs, and remakes have expanded the franchise, Gans, a genuine fan who lobbied Konami for the rights to make the first film, always had his mind on 2001's Silent Hill 2. In fact, it's the game he wanted to transform into cinema in the first place. Samuel and I wanted to do the second one because the second one was the best, and also it was a fan favorite, he tells SFX. But after a moment we realized it was maybe too big to swallow, because we had to create a town to define the rules of this world, this lore, and the story of Silent Hill 2 was so complex because we are seeing all the story through the point of view of the main character. So it's a very twisted way to tell the story. It's almost like a Roman Polanski movie like Repulsion. We realized that maybe it was safer to start with the first game and push the adaptation of the second game to later. And also, for me it was important that so much time has passed between the two films. If you know the games, the second game is almost a betrayal of the first. In the first game, Silent Hill does not exist. It's like a Twilight Zone, a different dimension. But in the second one, Silent Hill is happening in the twisted mind of the main character. When you play the two games, you realize they are not defined by the same rules. So I decided that Return to Silent Hill will not be a sequel, more like a reboot, a much more complex reboot, simply because everything is seen through the point of view of a madman. Mad World. Gans passed on directing the actual sequel to the first film, 2012's 3D misfire, Silent Hill Revelation. For me, it's very important not to repeat the first film. It's why I didn't do the second one. They asked me to basically do the same film with the second one, and they also wanted a different type of pace. They wanted something closer to Resident Evil. They wanted to make a franchise. They wanted the Rocky II of Silent Hill, and I said no. For Gans, an adaptation of Silent Hill 2 has finally found its moment. The game's internal focus reflects the way horror cinema has grown over the past couple of decades, he argues. I saw a very interesting evolution of the genre, especially from the moment when we saw movies like Hereditary, Midsommar, It Follows, The Witch. Suddenly the horror genre was changing, and I was thinking that maybe it was a good thing that we pushed the adaptation to later. Return to Silent Hill plays on a different level of perception, which is one of the main things that we see in this new trend of horror film. The fact that what you are seeing is not necessarily happening. I think it's very exciting. And I think the audience has evolved in that direction. They want to be surprised. There was a moment when it was interesting to surprise the audience with a storytelling twist. like in an M. Night Shyamalan movie, but people are expecting something even more bizarre, by twisting the point of view, by twisting the reality. It makes horror a very adult and transgressive genre. As a fan of horror films, I was thinking that all the movies coming after 2000 were very conservative. It was just a jump scare feast. Now we are seeing the return of the disturbing aspect of the horror film, and it's much more interesting. As a European guy, of course, I do prefer that type of horror. Yes, here's a Frenchman adapting a Japanese game about an American town and making it in East Europe. That's a pretty intriguing mix of perspectives, SFX suggests. For me, the genre is like the Gulf Stream, you know? Gans laughs. It travels all over the globe. I spend a lot of time talking with one of the main creators of Silent Hill, Akira Yamaoka, who's done the music for this film. He told me all the influences he had. It was Lucio Fulci, it was The Shining, it was Jacob's Ladder. It's interesting because we are more or less the same age, and I realized that when he was teen, he was loving the same films that I was in the south of France. That's what I like in genre film. You can watch it in a different part of the world, simply because it takes the best from every corner of this planet. That's a process which has always astonished me. Return to Silent Hill is, says Gons, a mad love story. Following the premise of Silent Hill 2, it finds a man named James Sunderland heading to the town in search of his lost love, Mary. As his mind fractures along with reality, James realizes he has entered a distinctly personal hell. There are mythological echoes here, Gons tells SFX. The first film was very operatic. This one is much more psychological and, in a way, strangely romantic, because it's about a man obsessed by a woman. For me, the story of the game is loosely an adaptation of the legend of Orpheus, going to hell to take back Eurydice, his beloved bride. James is like Orpheus. He's a poet. In the game, it's not defined what he's doing with his life, so I decided to make him a painter. That's interesting because you can understand why he's transforming the world like that, simply because he's an artist. Even if his mind is twisted, there's a strange beauty, a strange harmony in what he's imagining. The poets in Greek mythology are making the link between the world of humans and the world of the gods, and James is able to translate from one world to the other. Painter Man. James is played by Jeremy Irvine, best known for Warhorse and Treadstone. For Gons, it's a choice that brings a fitting touch of rock star to the role. A rider on the storm, no less. Brain squirming like a toad? Check. I'm a fan of the Doors. I was imagining James like Jim Morrison, opening the doors of perception, and that's Orpheus. Orpheus is playing the harp and singing in the old Greek mythology. I was thinking, yeah, a modern-day Orpheus could be Jim Morrison. Jeremy succeeded in bringing an arc to the character. What I like is that he starts like a nice, candid character, and in the last third of the film, he finishes as someone very dark and not so sane. I like the way he has built this very slow change into his mood. I noted that when we were editing the film, he did a very good job, because it's difficult to be alone on the screen in a ghost town, playing only fear and the obsession for a woman, but a woman who's not there. He did something really cool. Jigsaw's Hannah Emily Anderson is Mary, and, as James discovers, an unsettling doppelganger named Maria. I saw her in a strange Canadian thriller where she was playing a lesbian serial killer. 2018's What Keeps You Alive, Gans shares. At one moment, she was changing her personality in one shot. I watched her performance and said, oh my god, that girl is amazing. She can do it. She can be Mary, but she can also be Maria. As well as Pyramid Head, the franchise's sword-wielding, iron-masked mascot, Return to Silent Hill populates the old town with some scary new entities. All these creatures are actually the twisted reflections of what happened to James and Mary, and especially Mary. Most of the monsters in this film are feminine because they are reflecting the horrible agony of Mary. I think people will be interested to suddenly realize that these creatures are not simple monsters. They are a twisted state of mind. Silent Hill has left its mark, searing its zip code into pop culture. Music videos have appropriated its industrial terror aesthetic, while the Duffer Brothers openly acknowledge it is an inspiration for the Upside Down and Stranger Things. As Gans discovered, these days everyone's a visitor. When I did the first film, I had to explain the rules of Silent Hill. When I arrived on set, nobody had played it. But on this one, everyone has played it. When I cast Hannah and Jeremy, I told them, okay, now I'm going to explain how Silent Hill works. And they said, no, we don't need it. We saw the first film when we were young. I said, my God, finally I'm working with a second generation of Silent Hill fans. In 20 years, everything has changed. For young people today, their classics come more from video games or manga than literature or old cinema. That's the new culture. All right. Some more insight from Monsieur Gans. I mean, it sounds like he's getting the monsters, like their representation for this story and the characters the right way this time. So that's encouraging. I came across this online article giving their take on Return to Silent Hill, what they think of the movie based on that first trailer we got. The Stanisland magazine, or Stan Island magazine. Let's see what they have to say. Return to Silent Hill looks like a simple, inexpensive movie. Silent Hill's sequel was an instant fail for the fans. Not as much as the first film was, for me at least. Could the franchise be making the same mistake again? We react. What a story. What a game. Silent Hill's debut in cinema was a fun watch heralding some incredible practical effects. Directed by Christopher Gans, the 2006 film was a fan favorite, with a balanced formula, steady pacing, great direction, aside from Sean Bean's awful accent, and ultimately we came away with a sense of being entertained. This time, Gans returns to reclaim his creation following its sophomore effort, which bombed at the box office. Did it? I just took a look at the box office numbers for both the films just recently. I think there's a different story to tell there. But does it look good? Our verdict? Sadly, its follow-up, Silent Hill Revelations, was a difficult watch. The director was changed, the cast ballooned, and the plot was meaningless. While the original director, Christoph Gans, will take the director's chair for Return to Silent Hill, unfortunately, sigh, it looks like it's happening again. The CGI looks cheap, the story unoriginal, and overall, it feels like a product of straight-to-streaming. Now, it's fair to say that we should give it a chance, but I am not so sure they can bring this one home. It might be headed to home, VOD streaming, depending on the box office performance. We're hopeful it will be a fruitful release. However, going by the trailer, it looks like the studio has its hands all over it again. And reports indicate that's exactly what has happened. Oh my. Not a very optimistic outlook from this person. So we have this other article, an interview with actress Hannah Emily Anderson playing the role of Mary/Maria. Let's take a look at this. Hannah Emily Anderson takes on 4 haunting roles in Return to Silent Hill. As anticipation builds for the release of Return to Silent Hill, one performance is already drawing major attention. Hannah Emily Anderson's chilling, multi-layered turn at the heart of the film. A familiar face to horror fans, the Canadian actress delivers one of the most ambitious performances of her career, portraying not one but 4 interconnected characters. 4. Mary Crane, Angela, Maria, and Moth Mary in the long-awaited return to the iconic psychological horror franchise. Anderson is no stranger to the genre. Her past work includes Jigsaw, 2017, the acclaimed thriller What Keeps You Alive, 2018, and the first season of The Purge. There was a Purge TV show? I suppose so. But Return to Silent Hill, directed by Christoph Gans, pushes her into entirely new territory. The film reimagines the world of Silent Hill as a deeply psychological journey, with Anderson's characters serving as shifting manifestations within the fractured mind of James Sunderland, played by Jeremy Irvine. Director Christoph Gans recalls being instantly captivated by Anderson's talent after seeing her work on The Purge and What Keeps You Alive, particularly a scene in which she seamlessly switches personalities mid-shot. He knew she was the right choice. She was the most brilliant of anyone we saw, Gans says. Producer David M. Wolf echoes the sentiment, calling her audition unforgettable and emphasizing how crucial her range was to the film's emotional complexity. For Anderson, the role was both irresistible and intimidating. I wanted it from the minute I read the audition sides, she says. The excitement only grew when she learned she would be playing multiple versions of the same woman, each distinct, symbolic, and emotionally demanding. At the same time, the scale of the challenge was daunting. Preparing for the role required months of intense work with an acting and voice coach, carefully crafting unique identities for each character while also learning how to emotionally detach at the end of each day. That was the hardest part, Anderson admits. You want to give everything to something this dark, but you also need a way to leave it behind. A key source of support on set was her co-star Jeremy Irvine. Despite initial nerves about working opposite such an accomplished actor, Anderson quickly found their collaboration natural and grounding. Irvine brought humor and warmth to the role of James, helping balance the film's heavy psychological themes. Hannah is amazing, Irvine says. She came to set incredibly prepared, and what she pulls off in this film is remarkable. With its unsettling atmosphere, psychological depth, and powerhouse performances, Return to Silent Hill promises to be a bold new chapter in the franchise. And Hannah Emily Anderson's transformative work stands at its core. For horror fans and newcomers alike, her performance is set to be one of the film's most unforgettable elements when Return to Silent Hill arrives in theaters this January. Alright, well, there we have it. So, they are hinting, implying, well, not even implying, they're just flat out telling you that she is, and we've seen her in the trailer, Angela. So that's her. That's Hannah Emily Anderson in yet another wig as the movie's version of Angela. And playing Mary, not Shepherd Crane, and Maria, but also a version of Mary called Moth Mary. Perhaps that's the final boss from the game. That's the representation, but yeah, so they're just telling you straight out that she is that Angela in the movie is going to be yet another representation of James's vision of Mary, along with Maria. So essentially, Angela doesn't exist, nor Maria, and perhaps not even Eddie or Laura. They could all be delusions, each of these characters, out of James' mind, pure figments of his imagination. And that's been a theory by some people, pushed ever since the earliest days of the original Silent Hill 2 game. But Gans, I saw a video interview with him where to him, an interpretation is that not only do none of these characters exist for real, but they're only all out of James' mind, but that to him, the entire town itself of Silent Hill doesn't exist either. Like, that's completely made up by James too, in his mind. Like, that's Gan's conception of how much of a departure Silent Hill 2 is from the first Silent Hill game. It's that nothing is real. The characters, the town itself. So is that what we've got to look forward to in his movie adaptation of Silent Hill 2? We won't have very long to find out now. Curiouser and curiouser. Is going deeper down the rabbit hole of seeing how Christoph Gans' interpretation of Silent Hill 2 is going to play out in movie form on the big screen, only in theaters. So besides these articles, there are a few tie-in merchandise products, namely books for the movie, coinciding with the release. We've got the official Return to Silent Hill novelization, coming from Penguin Random House. It's publishing by John Passarella. It's releasing a few days after the release of the movie on January 27th. Paperback for $18.99 retail. You can already pre-order it from a number of these online shops. I like to be able to just go to my local Target or Walmart, pick it up, instead of ordering online. And the cover is a close-up from the first poster image that we got. Here's the description. In the latest Silent Hill film, based on the classic psychological horror video game Silent Hill 2, James must return to Silent Hill to rescue his soulmate. The town has been changed by an unknown, malevolent force that makes James doubt his ability to survive. In my restless dreams, I see that town, Silent Hill. Return to Silent Hill brings the iconic psychological horror franchise back to the big screen. When James receives a mysterious letter from his lost love, Mary, he is drawn to Silent Hill, a once familiar town now consumed by darkness. As he searches for her, James faces monstrous creatures and unravels a terrifying truth that will push him to the brink of survival. Is that a Silent Hill thing, having a hole in the wall? Oh, Silent Hill is all about holes. Holes in walls, holes in floors, maybe in the ceilings. Reaching into holes, jumping in holes, in and out. Repeat. Published by Titan Books. As Penguin Random House is just this online site for it. So yeah, that's the physical paperback novelization. But if you aren't so much into reading with your eyes, you can also listen to it with your ears through the Audible version of the novel, narrated by Joe Hempel. Now this one we gotta wait a little bit longer. It's not releasing until March, the 28th of March. It doesn't have a price yet. Oh, here it is. Pre-order for $16.07. Same description. So if you've got an Audible account, I would be motivated to sign up just to listen to the novelization for the movie. Yeah, the novelization was getting a release prior to the film coming out. I jump on that and try to read through it just so I know pretty much exactly what to expect when I head out to... I am going to go out to the theater upon release and watch the movie, but I would have liked to have read the novelization beforehand. But you could also compare and contrast, because often novelizations for film will have differences to the final product on film, on the screen. And also, we've got an official making of the film for Return to Silent Hill from Simon & Schuster, by Abby Bernstein. Distributors Simon & Schuster, also published by Titan Books. And this is a hardcover. And they only have prices for Australia and New Zealand in US dollars. $85 and $95 respectively. there's no USA equivalent page for this book. It's like Australian release. Let's read the description. About the book. Return to Silent Hill, the making of the movie, is the official companion guide to the horror film, full of behind-the-scenes photography, production, concept art, exclusive interviews with the director, writers, cast, and crew. Based on the wildly popular horror video game franchise, the upcoming psychological horror film Return to Silent Hill follows James, Jeremy Irvine, a man broken after his relationship with the love of his life, Mary, Hannah Emily Anderson, ends. When a mysterious letter from her calls him back to Silent Hill, he finds a once recognizable place transformed by an unknown evil. While James desperately searches for Mary, he encounters terrifying creatures and begins to unravel the mystery of what happened to the town. But as he descends deeper into the darkness, the secrets he uncovers lead to a horrifying truth, and James finds himself struggling to hold on long enough to save his one true love. What are you willing to bet that this unknown evil, the source in the town that they've been alluding to, is that homeless guy? I wouldn't doubt it. Alright, so this is the official making of behind the scenes book for the movie, which the previous two Silent Hill films did not receive. And also the novelization. Yeah, this, unlike the previous two films, you'll actually be able to read it in English, because there are only Japanese novelizations for the first Silent Hill movie and the sequel, Silent Hill Revelation 3D. So this is the first novelization for a Silent Hill film to actually receive U.S. territorial release in English. Alright, well, the very last thing on my non-existent Return to Silent Hill docket for the day is this new little behind-the-scenes featurette video in French. So I thought we'd take a look at that. It's very short.
The fan of the original game know that Silent Hill 2 was very different of the first game.
The Silent Hill video games are important because they're kind of a cultural phenomenon around the world.
Silent Hill has a huge fan base. Christoph's somebody that they can relate to and understand, and he's a gamer himself, and I think that there's nobody better poised to bring it to the modern screen.
Christoph is really faithful and respectful to Silent Hill. We had a tremendous chance to work with Konami very closely.
The story of Silent Hill 2 is actually a free adaptation of an old Greek mythology story, which is the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, the story of a poet going back to hell to take back his beloved bride, Eurydice. It happened that Orpheus has been adapted by one of my very favorite French director named Jean Cocteau, and now I think it was logical to adapt Orpheus again, and I did it through that new Silent Hill film. One one of the good surprises when the first film was released is that he pleased very much to Akira Yamaoka, the original creator of the game. The appreciation of the video game has changed a lot since 2006, which was basically the date of the release of the first film. 15 years after, you can feel that now the people know that it could exist adaptation of adult-oriented video game. The second game is the most adult of all the Silent Hill.
So that is Hannah Emily Anderson,
It was the atmosphere
the
that I remembered about the game.
Maria
I remember
actress,
being quite immersed in
as
it
Angela.
when I played it. I remember this very sort of
As we
melancholic atmosphere
now
that
discovered,
appealed to
established.
sort of emotional teenage angst in me at that age. That's what stayed with me from playing it, and I guess what sort of attracted me in this film.
I want fans to have the same feeling I had when I watched it 17 years ago in the theater. It's so thrilling. It's so much fun to see a horror movie with an audience in a theater.
Yeah, so once again, Mr. Director Monsieur Christophe Gans, he's a lot of fancy talk, as per usual, as is the norm. He talks up a good game. I mean, there's a video interview of him just talking about the games, mainly Silent Hill 2. Like, that's the main focus in this interview. And I watched it, listened to it, and he does know the games, especially Silent Hill 2. Like, you watch this video, you listen to him in this interview, yeah, he knows the game, he understands it just as well as anyone, any other Silent Hill fan. The complexities, the nuance. When you hear him talk about, his love for Silent Hill 2 and its story, he has a great respect and reverence for it, as does any one of us who admires the story of Silent Hill 2. However, as maybe we've seen evidenced by his efforts on that first Silent Hill film, doesn't necessarily know what's good for an adaptation. So we will just have to wait and see what he has in store for us in his Silent Hill 2 adaptation to screen. Okay, well, that is that. Now, I'm off to GameStop to try and grab me a Return to Silent Hill sticker and button. Wish me luck.